Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to this week's live stream. I'm your host, Modaiza, and I'm joined by a wonderful selection of mods today. It's a pretty big house, in fact, of us all. We have Mod Sani. Hey Mod Sani.
Hello.
Hello, hello. I'll ask how you're all doing afterwards, we'll just say hello for now. Sween, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello Mod Ed.
Hello.
Hello, and Mod Lenny as well is joining us. Hey Mod Lenny.
Good evening, Aiza.
Good evening. Ooh. Is it evening, afternoon? Technically, what is it?
5 p.m.
It's 5.
That's evening.
Evening. All right. Well, it's the evening somewhere out there. Anyway, today, what are we going to be doing? We'll be showing off some of the amazing talents from last week's Game Jam, as well as a cheeky sneak peek of next week's update, all before we then hop into some Pest Control, actually, of all things. We're going to be grouping together and playing, and I may as well announce the world now so you can get here nice and early. We are on World 523 if you want to come and join us. Get yourselves ready, geared up, and go slay some beasts and close some portals. All right, how is everyone doing today? And did you have fun during Game Jam? Sani, start us off.
Hell yeah, I did. I don't know if people saw my my Twitter posts over the week, but been designing a cool free-to-play rat boss. So it was very fun, especially because this is the first Game Jam I've actually worked with people rather than sticking to a corner and being a little recluse. So it was good.
Cool. Well, your project looked really cool. It seemed to have gone down pretty well. Interesting to see more of that. Hopefully, we'll be able to showcase it off in a future stream. I think we've got a particular project to show off today, hence why we've got Mods Ed and Lenny. Mod Ed, why don't you tell us, how are you doing today? And did you have fun during Game Jam?
Oh, we had lots of fun during Game Jam. We were very naughty. We didn't do one Game Jam project. We did about 6, so we were very greedy.
It was one of the longer presentations, but fun nonetheless. And we get to see some of that today. Lenny, how are you doing today? Did you have fun during Game Jam?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Had a lot of fun in the Game Jam, like Ed says. Worked on 6 projects, alongside getting a few things ready for an upcoming update. But yeah, I mean, Ed will hate me for it, but I'd say that all of our projects are very hogging. Managed to abbreviate them all as POG. Still proud of it, but Ed is not so big a fan.
You did do a good job with that, and it threw me off actually in the presentation. I was expecting one thing, which you then did show later on, but it was all like an elusive ruse. Very well done. All right, Mudsween, how are you doing today? And did you have fun during Game Jam?
Sorry, I muted myself. When Ed said, "Oh, we were very naughty," I giggled a bit, so I had to mute myself. I did have fun. I barely Game Jammed, but I went to Paris to go and see Tom Segura do a stand-up show. That was really fun. And then with that football game, and I did some game jamming, looking at really old, 2004 era, or trying to find those kind of level of assets, because I do marketing now. So I was like, what if we market with really old crap ads? So I kind of did some digging there. Not great, but I did have fun. I'm fine, mate. How are you? Did you have fun during Game Jam?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. And I did have fun during Game Jam. I was exploring the powers of AI and how we might be able to utilize that within community management to trawl through all the thousands of comments that we get. So yeah, it was good, pretty successful. And I got to play football, which was fun considering the fact that I don't play. My legs felt very worked for the next 3-4 days afterwards. But I'm glad that we went, glad that we did it. It was for a good cause, and we raised a whole load of money as well. So it was awesome. Right, okay, so before we get started, the sneak peek will come next, but as per usual, we've got some announcements to go through. So first of all, ! Game update. If you haven't seen it already, combat achievements are now point-based, although if yesterday going to Gommel was any kind of indication of how much people are aware of it, you're probably aware of it. You've all got your hard tasks for being such amazingly skilled gamers. Well done. But yes, it has been anticipated for quite a while. We also made some extra changes, such as adding a storage chest in the Chambers of Xeric lobby so that you can gear up and stuff before the raid starts. So if you want to check out the awesome updates and the rest of everything that came out with this week, ! Game update for that one. Now, next up, ! Discord. We're going to keep talking about Discord a lot because we are utilizing it quite a bit for the new skill. And as we're officially now in the refinement stage, it would be good for you to be joining it if you wanted to stay up to date with all the ongoing conversations. As always, anything that does happen that is on a more larger scale, like the calls that we have and such, we will be providing summaries of them, so you don't have to be there, but we are going to be doing a whole bunch of different stages, which are kind of like a Q&A live stream, but just without video, just voice, really cozy. They're actually awesome. We're having around about 1,000 or so players joining us, so we would love to have more of you. So !Discord to join the server and see how we're getting on with refinement. And then lastly, !Gazette. The wonderful Modsani has put together the latest edition of the Gillinor Gazette, and it is packed full of updates about all of our upcoming projects. So if you want to read more about the new skill, Desert Treasure 2, Bounty Hunter, and loads more, do !Gazette for that. Now, that's out of the way, let's have a look at what's coming out with this week's game update. And I think I can take a little bit of a break from talking while I pass over to Mods Ed and, or maybe just Mod Lenny actually, to talk through what we've got here.
I was going to say, I have no idea. Don't dump it on me.
Sorry, Ed, getting ahead of myself. But if you haven't already been able to tell from the image, ground item markers and the loot tracker are going to be coming to mobile next week. And that's something that players have asked for a while now. So very, very excited to share that that's finally coming. So over to you, Lenny. Take it away.
Yeah, so next week we've got what we've been calling for some time now, loot tools coming to our new clients, coming to the mobile clients on both Android and iOS and on Steam. And this is something that I spent some time speaking about in the Winter Summit quite a while back now, where we were talking through ground items, talking through the loot tracker and all the customizability available to it. So as you can see here, this is it shown on mobile. Ground items have all kinds of settings available to them. You can choose whether you want to show alchemy values, grand exchange prices, show information about how long until they despawn, how long until they're visible to other players, and you can customize the colors things will be displayed at, both custom highlighted items and items of different tiers, as we're calling them, the prices that you can customize to go with. You can provide these filters on the sort of pop-out panel on the right-hand side, where you can see here we're filtering out anything wild-carded with bones. In this case, getting rid of not just bones, but also big bones, so you can get rid of, everything that you want to in one sweep. Pretty much as you're used to with existing third-party clients, now available on mobile as well. We should hopefully have pretty much, all of that expected functionality there ready to go for you. Then the other part of this is we've got the loot tracker, which will be tracking not just what you're getting from combat, but pretty much everywhere throughout the game. So you can see here that you've got your loot from Fasani's Nightmare, where you've got a pet and some arrows. And you've also got things being tracked from Hunter, from birdhouse trapping, and from cutting some yew trees. It'll be tracking pretty much everything you could hope for throughout the game, far and wide. We hope that we've captured everything, although we're sure there'll be a few things that people still find they want added to it as well, and we're happy to keep adapting that as we go. And similarly, this has a fair amount of customization to go with it. You can customize what prices you want to show, whether you want to ignore certain items and just omit them from the display entirely. And yeah, there we have it. That is loot tools in a sort of quick roundup.
Awesome. Really happy to see them coming through. And as I said, they've been requested for a very long time, and a lot of great functionality. Saw a few little, I don't know, why'd you have to be so pessimistic in chat, hey? Yes, we know that it's been available in RuneLite for a long time, but RuneLite isn't on mobile, and this is now available on mobile, so just let us cook. I think it's great. It's amazing to see it coming in, and hopefully many of the mobile players out there will enjoy this wonderful new change. Thank you for all of the hard work on it. Now, the second section, let's talk about what happened in Game Jam. So you probably all know, we mentioned it just a moment ago, but Game Jam happened last week. It's the first one of the year. The whole team got to work on a bunch of fun different projects, and we've got the first of many to show off. We are also planning a dedicated live stream purely for all of the Game Jam pitches so that we can show them with you all, or at least most of them that we're able to. But we wanted to just give you a little bit of a taste of what was worked on during that time. So over to Mod Ed for this one. You can take us through Hog.
Hog? So, I mean, a lot of people will probably already recognize this picture. This is from the Path of Gluffary quest. When Old School was launched back in 2013, it was built using a backup from August 2007, and that backup not only came with everything that was like live available in the game at that time, but also everything that was still in the works. So various updates that came out over months following that backup were still available in it. We've ported most of them into Old School now, God Wars Dungeon, Land of the Goblins, and this was sort of the last one left that was in a sort of like mostly shippable state. So we pulled it out the backup, gave it a good tidy up, in the hopes that we can maybe potentially ship it at some point soon. The reason we've got this picture on the screen is because one thing I guess to note in particular is that the Path of Gluffrey was very famous for bringing about the warped tortoises and warped terrorbird slayer tasks, which I think back in the day were sort of renowned as quite possibly the worst slayer tasks in game. So one thing we also wanted to do while sort of like extracting the quest from a backup was make sure we address anything that wasn't up to standard. So we did a good pass over these creatures, like their drop table, their stats. We made them into a combined Slayer task. The crystal chime that you had to use to make them vulnerable, you just have to have it in your inventory now. You don't need to like click on it and click on them every time. We've given them a couple of unique items as well, which won't spoil here, but some like useful weapons for sort of like the sort of tier of quest it is, like mid-level stuff. So yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully a reasonable improvement over the horrific Slayer tasks they were back in the day. Oh, what's this? Random music mode. So yeah, as we said, we were very greedy. We didn't just work on one game jam project. We worked on about 6. A couple of them we're keeping secret, just in case they do ever make it into game. We'd like to keep them under wraps for now. But here's one we can talk about. We spent some time going over the sort of like the back end of our music system, which hasn't been really touched too much. We made a few updates to it here and there, but like just a selection of like hopefully quality of life updates for ourselves on the back end. So nothing that's particularly like visible in game, but things that would improve the system to make it easier for us to add commonly requested features in the future. And after doing all of that, we thought, well, we should at least try and slot one of those features in. So we managed to also fit in the random music mode, which has been a very, very popular request of, as the name suggests, change your music player to a random music mode, and it will play any unlocked tracks at random. And hopefully, in the future, we can use the improvements we made to maybe add even more features. Maybe playlists one day. Who knows? What's going on here, Lenny?
Well, this is a very lively pub in Varrock, and this is a project that Ed and I wanted to undertake for quite a while now. I think we've been speaking about doing this for probably at least 2 years at this point. And there's a few different things that you can see going on here that we wanted to do, just kind of add a bit more flavour and life, and not necessarily a huge amount, but a little bit of use to pubs to give you a bit of reason to go there. So you can see that the bartender's talking about Gertrude's cat being lost that she's out on the look for. And what we've tried to do here is basically, take what we've got with the activity advisor, which will recommend you just as a useful quest to do to progress your account, and go for something slightly more flavourful instead, where you'll be able to go and ask a local bartender for any rumours that they've heard, and they'll be able to tell you what they've heard in the local area, in the sort of slightly broader region that you're in. Just a quest that seems nice and fitting for a bartender to know about. You think Dungeons and Dragons, you think any fantasy game. And if you're looking for a quest, you typically go to a bartender and you ask, hey, have you heard any rumours? And that's always been sort of lacking here, and something that we wanted to be able to add as just a nice little flavour touch. And while we're at it, we decided to add a bunch of other stuff to pubs that we just kind of wanted to get in there while we're here anyway. So you can see the bartender's got a couple of new options. To start with, they've just got trade, which lets you go and buy more food and drink than you previously would be able to. And that will, we kind of tried to look at what drinks are available at different pubs, give some more of them their own specialties, and otherwise sort of standardize a broad selection across every pub in the game. we found some interesting things about the drinks, like the example being you can all get Karamjan rum that you need for Pirate's Treasure, but there's no actual just rum in game. You got Karamjan rum, which is not like the ordinary stuff, and you've got some guy called Joe's quote-unquote rum, but no just rum. So we kind of took the time to add in those little bits as well. And then the last option that's there and highlighted on the bartender is the ability to rent a room. And lots of the pubs around Gillinor are not just pubs, but are inns, like the Blue Moon Inn, with bedrooms upstairs that have just really gone unused and have a couple of NPCs posturing around in them. And what we decided to go for here is the ability to pay a small fee and rent a room at a pub, and that offer the ability to regenerate your hit points, your run energy, your prayer, basically everything that you're used to in your player-owned house pools or in the Ferox Enclave pools, to just kind of regenerate everything about your character and give you a good night's rest. A bit of a cost of the convenience. It's not where you're going to be teleporting to do it, but when you're running through Varrock on a quest, it might be nice to stop by and rest up. The last thing that we got here in the screenshot is a little more tucked out of the way, but in the music panel, we've actually got some new tracks added within pubs, and these are tracks that I believe were added to RuneScape quite a few years ago, and are effectively sort of pub variants of classic songs that everyone knows and loves. So we can see here that we've got the Honky Tonky Newbie melody, which is, you imagine you go into a pub and you've got somebody there playing it on a piano. It's that sort of just atmospheric type of music being added there. And then we've got a couple of other very much more minor things to go alongside this all, but I won't try and go into too much detail. I've already rambled on a little bit here. And then this is one of our other pogs. This is our Plenty of Gestures update. And this is basically an emotes overhaul that we've been looking to do, where you've got the emote panel in game, and we've had the same emotes there with a few additions over the years, but largely not a whole lot more done with it. So there were a few things that kind of came up that we wanted to look at doing. So we've added the ability to use emotes through the chat. So much like other games, you can go in and you can use, in this case, : wave, and your character will wave. Or you could use ! Wave if that was your sort of flavor choice. We've added a few different ways that you're able to do it, but you can access all of the emotes available in the panel through the chat as well, to be able to kind of, weave it into your chat or your roleplay on World 42, whatever it is that you might be doing. Alongside this, we've also got the ability to loop emotes, so you can see that the dance emote's got a new option to not just perform it, but also to loop it, in which case you will just keep dancing and dancing your heart out for the next 5 minutes, however long you want, rather than having to keep clicking it over and over again. And while we're at it, we decided we'd add a couple of new emotes, some of which you might prefer to have looped by default even. So you can see I'm just sat here around the campfire at Wintertodd along with a couple of NPCs. Again, it's one of these sort of nice social touches that you're there chatting with your friends, you're just gathered around somewhere, and you can sit down while you're doing it instead of all being stood staring awkwardly at each other across a one tile gap. You can now sit around a nice cozy campfire instead. But yeah, I think that kind of covers the emotes.
Awesome, thank you, Lenny. I can't wait to take Sween on a date to Falador Park and have a picnic by the duck pond. We're going to sit down, play some music, maybe some random music at the same time, spice things up a little bit. Sounds good, right, Sween?
It sounds dreamy.
There we go. He didn't say no. Woo! All right. I think that's everything that we've got now, though, in terms of the sneak peek and the little bit of game jam. So why don't we get ready to go into some pest control and game, because we are being told to hurry up. So I guess we should probably do that. World 523, if you want to come and join us, I believe we're going to have POV from Mod Lenny, at least. Maybe another. I can't remember if there was going to be a second POV, but let's go. Let's get ready to game. I'll try and just take some questions from chat whilst we're going through on this. So if you want to at Oldschool RS or at Aiza, I will try and pick up what you're saying and ask it whilst we play, but I'll also be somewhat focusing semi, there we go. All right, what boat are we going to go to?
That's a good question. I was just wondering the same thing.
I went to the novice boat. Oops. We'll go to the we'll start on the veteran boat, right? We're all gamers here, yeah.
We are gamers.
Okay.
We
All right.
are.
I'm gonna cross the gangplank now. I'm heading in. Oh, I've been sent out. Do I have any friends with me? I've got all of the
Not
friends
me.
from the community. That's all I need.
Mm-mm.
Well, good
All right,
luck on
we're
your
in.
games.
I'm in.
I'm chilling with Lenny.
I'm chilling and killing. In Pest Control
Going
fun.
to
How
embarrass
many
myself here and
people?
die.
Yeah, how many people in chat have started doing Pest Control now that they're getting more points after the combat achievements update? Because I imagine that many of you unlocked a new tier, which means that you get better points now. Also, just as a pre-warning, in case there are some of you out there that aren't aware, if you're joining Pest Control on a hardcore group Ironman, it's not considered a safe death in here, so you are able to lose lives, and it can be a little bit dangerous, especially when the splats happen. So just be careful. I don't want you to be roasted because you joined the live stream with the JMods and your group got mad at you. So be careful for the splatters. They hurt.
Will be a
What
tale to
position
tell,
do
though,
I-
for sure.
It would be. What position do I play in footy? I think play is a very subjective term, but I was on the wing.
We
I think
We
is what I was
unleashed you on the wing.
That was it. The game plan was I was told to be like a bee, buzz around and annoy everyone. So that's exactly what I did.
I was gonna say Sween was bringing you up at lunch today, so like you know,
Aw,
do
thanks,
yourself
Sween.
like that, bro.
I'll
Every
I'll
time.
make sure to get some extra special sandwiches for our picnic then. I'll treat you to the M&S special instead of a Tesco meal deal. What about that?
Ooh.
We're paying you too much.
Well, can I say? Reddit won't believe that one for one moment. Someone has asked, oh, we managed to destroy all the portals. That was so fast. Wow. I'm going back in, back to back. Someone has asked if there's any chance of bigger bank pin numbers. I can't be the only one squinting like a granddad.
I mean, I can't say it's something that many of us on the team have ever really looked into, but it could be something we investigate. I don't actually know the feasibility of it, if I'm honest. I'm sure there's probably some legacy systems that it ties into that make it not a simple change. That's not to rule it out by
Oh.
any means.
Yeah, most things aren't simple when it comes to old school code, but there has been a lot of improvements to interfaces recently, right? So I imagine it's probably possible to convert it over to a newer style that might have features like scalable interfaces like we've got on others. I don't know, I'm just assuming here because I have no idea. I'm not technical.
Yeah, we've definitely made a lot of improvements that could support it well, but I'd be more concerned just about sort of technical back-end systems that need to support the bank pin.
Fair enough. Maybe. If not, maybe the Microsoft magnifier could be an option. I know that's a thing you can use, the screen enhancer. You're like Spy Kids, but for the bank pin.
I've just realised I completely misunderstood the question. I was thinking a longer bank pin. As in
Oh no, just bigger numbers.
Oh, yeah, that sounds sensible.
Okay.
Last
Maybe
is
you won't need
simple.
to use the magnifier. Sorry,
Lazy.
Swing, go on.
I don't know, like glasses and that, innit? It's more indicative of poor eyesight. I mean, we can't fix that. It's not like my equivalent to get good, but
Just get better eyes. Like, okay.
we'll try to like, you know, what I
Man,
mean.
Pest Control did something to you, Sween, didn't it?
You've only had what, like one game?
I mean, I've 2 games done now. This is honestly my boats are they're popping off. I got some gamers with me.
Really not me.
Ooh,
I
that's
am
an interesting
not a
one.
good gamer today.
So there's a question from someone who's actually joining us in Pest Control at the moment, and they've said they wanted to ask if they could get more support for player-run community events with JMod involvement, like JMod support. I mean, I don't mind taking that one. It's kind of like a community-esque thing. I would love to be able to get more involved with events and such. The problem is that it's just really difficult to make sure that we give a good level of consistent support across the board, and it doesn't seem like a particular group are favored in a way. I'd be interested to hear ideas from the community actually on how we could approach that. Like maybe, so like we have the Gillinor Gazette. I'm literally just thinking off the top of my head now. So let me know what you think about it. But what if we were to do like each month we opened up, like a separate survey where players could apply to put forward an event that they want extra support for, or like presence from JMods, and we select one that gets announced in the Gazette, like the dates where it's going to be and stuff like that, what it is going to be. I don't know. Maybe that could be like a way to do it. Just feel a little bit random.
I think that was part of my original intention of the community showcase that comes alongside the Gazette. But again, there's more that goes into it than I originally thought. So now, like, the process is in place. Maybe that's something I can expand on with the next one. Yeah, why not?
All right, could be something to consider then at least. But yeah, I think outside of the realms of it just needing to feel fair and consistent, the answer is yes. Would absolutely love to do that. Quite often, more than not, if you're like, for example, you're maxing and you tag a few JMods on Twitter, you'll probably get a few people attending. And when that happens, we normally mention it in like our internal chat channels too, so that we can all join in together. So, yeah. I'm currently three votes down, 3 victories in a row. How are you guys doing?
I'm not doing too hard
now.
We've been having victories, but I have not been getting a good contribution.
I'm just killing things.
I feel like my gnome child's get up is helping me a lot with this.
Didn't he just die?
What?
I think I just saw as that game ended. I think he just died before.
Oh yeah, right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Living life on the edge.
There's someone in game asked me to do some novice runs. I don't mind doing some novice ones for any noobs.
Yeah. So I suppose we could do all the tiers, right? So.
Yeah, we can jump into a lower one. Got a question for you here, Lenny. What's the retention for the loot tracker? I imagine it's not retroactive, but is all future loot tracked and, more importantly, stored?
So yes, everything should be stored going forwards once the loot tracker launches. The exception being obviously anything that we've missed tracking in the first place and need to add in later won't be sort of retroactively tracked back to the initial release. It will be tracked as of whenever we start tracking that specific thing. We have got some sort of speculative plans as well for the future to add some more functionality to the loot tracker, at which point you might find that all of your data will still be stored, but not necessarily apply itself quite so nicely to the new functionality. It'll still be perfectly usable as it is on release, just maybe not for all the extra fancy features added later down the line.
Okay, nice. Thank you. It's good to hear. How long does it store for? Is it like indefinite? Is there a limit on how much can be stored?
So effectively, yeah, it's indefinite. It will only display a certain amount of it, just due to the actual sort of cost of fetching the information constantly and displaying it on screen. But it will be stored forevermore. And if you start getting more loot from a specific boss, it will bring that boss back into focus on the tracker. The bit of sort of note, I suppose, would be that if you would lose things like your settings in the game, lose your volume settings, effectively by clearing your entire cache for the game, then your loot tracker information would also potentially be lost in that same process. But no sort of circumstances that we'd normally expect a player to be losing them in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the info. Appreciate that, Lenny. Let's have a look. Someone's asked, what setup do I need? If you're just thinking of coming to Pest Control, just take whatever gear you have that's best. The portals are weak to different styles, so it can be a good idea to bring a weapon that has, stab and slash at least. There's 2, so you can be pretty good at that. But for the most part, just don't really worry about it. Just enter whichever portal you have the highest requirements for and enjoy. Go ahead and play. Defend the knight if you have to. Can be a thing to do if you don't want to worry about the portals themselves. I've run into the novice boat, but only 4 others joined me, so we're doing a 5-man Pest Control run now. So, how much space would the loot caches reserve on mobile? Sorry, Sween, did you ask me a question?
I already said you should have said that you went over to a new boat.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt Lenny. He was, he was on a roll. Do we anticipate how big the cache would be for the stored items, Lenny?
I couldn't tell you any numbers off the top of my head, but I wouldn't expect it to be anything that should be of any concern. If you're on a phone that's playing Old School, I don't think you're going to have a problem storing the data required for it.
Cool. It's good to know. Thank you. Right, what other questions can I ask in here whilst I'm AFKing? All right, I'm going back into the novice boat. If there are any low levels that want to join in, now is your time to jump into the novice boat. And I'm here with Sween.
Coming for you.
We'll come over. We'll come over.
All right, we've entered. I see a few sub 100s. Okay. Any more? Quick. The boat's about to depart. Look at everyone flocking in. There we go.
Let's go.
Oh, I paused the chat. Can we get Aiza's stream instead? This is wild. No, sorry. I'm literally just leeching.
This is what you get when you ask me questions. I can't multitask.
There's not a problem, is there, with Mod Lenny's superior skill? Is there?
Yeah, there are many problems with my skill.
Or is it just that you're so good? They want to see somebody who is a bit more balanced.
Yeah,
I'm so good that I'm having to hold myself back.
Don't want to embarrass everyone too much. I get it. I appreciate that, Lenny. It's very respectable of you. How's the little competition between the two of you going? For those of you that don't know, we have like an internal high scores that looks at the progress the staff members have made on their accounts the week prior, and currently Mod, Lenny, and Ed are pretty close against one another in the rankings.
Yeah, I mean, you say currently. That's been the case for the past 5 months now. We started this sort of heated race at the start of January, and I don't think either of us expected it to hold up this long. But it's still very neck and neck. I think Ed might just be ahead. I've been having a slow couple weeks trying to learn some more PVM. But
okay.
Yeah, it's still pretty close.
Hearing that, Ed, he said he's been going easy on you, learning PVM to let you catch up. Read between the lines.
If that's what he wants to call it, that's fine by me.
I mean, let's be honest. If you were watching me play right now and you were raiding with me the other day, you know that I need to learn PVM.
Brilliant. What raid were you doing?
We were doing some Tombs for Mascot the other day.
Ooh, very nice.
And it was a sight.
Are there any plans on looking at buffs or more content for the Scythe? As it is, it feels useless compared to the Shadow or T-Bow. Well, I mean, if there were, we wouldn't tell you right now because, I mean...
I love extreme statements like that. It's like, useless. Of course, it's useless. It's not best in slot. It's useless. Those are the two options. I'm gonna get a lot of people angry about me saying that. So,
yep.
But on a serious note, I do hear that there might be some new bosses coming out very soon. Maybe alongside a Grandmaster Quest. Who knows? Maybe it'll be used on one of them, or maybe it will be useless.
Yeah, if nothing else.
Remember old Q&As where every question was about, can you buff this, can you do that? And it was just price manipulation. I think streams used to be on Thursday, didn't they? Like 5 PM on Thursday, it was just, who can get a question answered on stream and buy the items, like 200 of the items beforehand. Just to hear Matt go, well, if the players want it, that's buy.
It's so true. I remember there was one time someone was like adamantly talking about Torag's hammers, sorry. And whilst, they could definitely warrant being buffed, right? I don't think anyone's really screaming for them right now out of just the sake of it. But when we then looked into the player's account, they had like 4,000 pairs of Torag's hammers. And it made complete sense why they were constantly asking every single week if they could be buffed.
What do you mean, Ace? It was just a coincidence. Just a coincidence.
Yeah, just a coincidence.
Just really likes the item. Just just really love hoarding this item. Definitely no nothing suspicious here.
Hey JX, hope you enjoyed the penguin facts. Thanks for giving me the squirrel eventually. I hate saying squirrel. Squirrel. There we go. If this is actually the player who's been posting penguin facts on Reddit, Tom T43, congratulations on the pet. And thank you for also scarring me for eternity by getting the certain reply video committed to. That was something to see. Glad I wasn't on the work network when I loaded that Reddit post.
I'm so stoked for him though. So stoked.
Which person are you talking about?
You
now, though?
you know which person I'm talking about.
How do you like your coffee in the morning? Oh dear. Slick Slide has said, it's not that the scythe is useless, it's more that in comparison to the Shadow T-Bow, it has much less use. As the main power weapon for melee, it feels very underwhelming. Yeah, I think Moded was obviously just referring to the commenter that said it was useless. We don't actually think players think across the board it is holistically useless. Definitely could do with some extra attention in future content, but in case of like a straight up just buffing the scythe for the sake of it, I don't think that would happen. But it also makes sense though, right? I guess the most recent releases have had ranged and equipment and major equipment be added to them because melee had a lot of love for a very long time. So if we were just focusing purely on melee for the last year or so, players would probably be saying the same thing about, well, they wouldn't because the Twisted Bow's broken, but they might say it about the Twisted Bow or other items from different areas. But yeah, we hear you loud and clear, and I'm sure that there will be something in the future. Like Ed said,
that's a community manager reply right there. Not me sat here going, no, I'm not buffing that.
That's me trying to wing it whilst I'm clicking on Pest Control beasts.
It was a good wing. That was a solid response.
All right. I'm glad. But yeah, there are 4 new bosses coming out very soon. Desert Treasure 2 is on the horizon, so maybe one of them will have a use for it. Maybe more than one will have. Who knows? You'll have to wait and see. When will there be idle alerts for mobile? Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's quite a tricky thing to actually get into the game. It's not as simple as people might first expect, but it is something that's been on our radar for some time. I couldn't tell you the date that it's currently planned for, but it is in our scheduled work coming up in the near future.
Nice. There you go. And these streams deliver, I tell you. Right, what else? I use the professional negotiator. Okay, just don't call me into a hostage situation. Things might go a little bit.
So I use a good cop. I'm bad cop.
You've taken the place of Mod Husky in this live stream as bad cop, then it seems. Normally that's the two of us batting off against one another. When will Bounty Hunter be released? Ooh, good question. I would love to just announce the date right now, but I'm not going to. However, I will say that it's very soon.
It was the release date was included in the monthly newsletter email. So before I say the date, everyone should go and sign up for that newsletter because then they won't miss the news. And we were going to, and it's on me because I didn't get the video over. And I didn't receive the video quick enough, and I didn't send it over quick enough to publish something alongside it going with a newsletter. So firstly, go and sign up to it because then you get loads of cool emails and not much spam, not any spam. I'll remind myself. Let me open the calendar. May 24th. May 24th.
Oh my god, he announced it! Let's go! I didn't realise that was a thing, even though I have checked the email. I just skimmed over it, so my bad. But yeah, 24th of May, Bounty Hunter, and Sween did make a really good point. We've been really leveling up the email side of things of recent. I think the newsletters look absolutely amazing. I think Sween said there's not much spam, but then corrected himself rightfully. No spam. It is just all about RuneScape stuff.
I was being facetious. There's no spam.
I know. So yeah, if you haven't already, opt into marketing options on your account so that you can get those emails going forward. Yeah, 24th of May though for Bounty Hunter. So it's all looking to be really good. We obviously had the poll close on Tuesday. Everything but XP lamps passed, which was amazing to see. So thank you to everyone who voted. Really happy to actually see some new PvP rewards come out. They are initially, going to be restricted to just Bounty Hunter. There's been a lot of players asking if they can be open to the rest of the wilderness or maybe even the rest of the game. But for now, we want to just focus on them being in Bounty Hunter and balanced accordingly. And then who knows, maybe we can look to poll them to be used elsewhere. But they would it would all be subject to a further poll. So we're not just going to suddenly add everything into the main game. So yeah. What else can I find from here? Let me attack the portal. I've got some time to AFK. Are there any more leagues planned in the future? From Mulebren.
We said
Yes.
before the Winter Summit, we said we'll announce news of that at the Summer Summit. And we're almost close to announcing a date of the Summer Summit as well, which is very cool. Hopefully next week we'll be able to announce the date of the Summer Summit.
Ooh.
Nice. Exciting.
I will say, if you're needing some leagues, like things to do, Mod Husky has written a really good piece for the Gazette last month. So if you want to check that out, it's a nice retrospective over the last 3 leagues. Very good, very good.
Yeah, we all love a good Husky ramble. It's a pretty long one, lengthy one, goes into a lot of detail. The viewpoint of leagues from a developer. I think it disclaimers it at the start, but I'll just reiterate it is from Mod Husky and his views on a league. It's not like representative of the entirety of the team or even the studio. So keep that in mind, but well worth a read and should tie you over until we have more news to share. Any news on RuneFest? Unfortunately, nothing more that can be shared since the message from Phil, the CEO, earlier this year when we did our stream. And that is that we are unlikely going to be able to put a RuneFest on this year, but we would really like to see it return. So fingers crossed next year we'll have a RuneFest to announce. But yeah, they're not being stopped. We definitely want to do them again. It's just been difficult. Obviously, a lot's changed since COVID happened, and whilst it's not as much of an impact now as it was back then, there's still a lot that has changed since. So we need to spend a little bit of time making sure that we do it right. Can I reply to your prior message on quality of life addition to mobile? If you ask it again, maybe I'll be able to see it. I can't scroll up the chat because it's going too fast. I'm sorry. Maybe I can see your chat history. Let me have a look. Can we have the ability to swap left-click options on mobile like on RuneLite?
Short answer, yes, at some point. Again, one of the things that I wouldn't be able to give you a timeline on, but it's very much something we were intending to do.
Cool. Thank you, Lenny. Tie-Dye Macaroni, interesting name, says Group Ironman mode has been out almost 2 years. Did the team forget about us?
What does that mean?
I don't know if we're meant to like go around the house with like thank you for being a Group Ironman, and then go on to the next one.
You know what? I'll start playing my Group Ironman again if that happened.
I'm playing my.
We released it. What are there new features they want? Like I don't know. What changes would you want us to see? I know there was some kind of. I think we said way back. I was still here before I left. We said maybe we'd look at being able to trade certain untradables and that kind of thing. I don't know. Is that something they want us to look at?
Yeah, I mean, we can that off though because players.
And we can look at the stuff.
Yeah, we can that one in particular because players had just serious concerns over how it would actually work, which items should be tradable. We also had concerns. I think Group Ironman was never really meant to be something that we would just constantly develop content bespoke for it, but we are keeping content new content now is keeping like Group Iron Man in mind, just like Iron Man is kept in mind, and all of the other kind of like smaller niche communities that are around. I think the most relevant thing for Group Iron Man of late is probably the Game Jam project that was worked on by Mod Rock and Co, which was revisiting the Group Slayer system. So haven't been forgotten about. It's just not really. At least I don't remember us saying it was going to be a massive focus in like specific development time. It was more of another way to play the game that already exists. I am going to answer this question because they've said that they feel like they're being ignored, and that's not the case. It's just there's a lot of people chatting, and it's hard to see them all whilst I'm clicking on splatters and whatever else the rest of the things are called. Defilers. This is from Psycho Louis. I think I pronounced that wrong, but I'm going to keep with the name. Will sailing have any PvP areas to engage with other sailors, take their gold and silver? Is this just wishful thinking? I think the advertisement with Bounty Hunter and PvP-enabled sailing would hugely increase the player population. Ooh, well, I think the answer to that is maybe, but sailing isn't finalized yet. We're still going through refinement, so there is definitely potential for it. If that's something that players feel like they would want, we can definitely look at considering it. I personally think that having an area out at sea with wilderness like PvP enabled would be awesome, and being able to like fight people on other ships, you know, like pull up next to them, get the squad, do a little drive-by with magic short bows and stuff, would be pretty sick to see. But it would be like a opt-in only area. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the potential for PvP and sailing if sailing was to be added to the game?
I think it'd be very cool. For a while, I played an MMO called Arcade, which is really cool. No, it was really cool, and then it stopped being really cool because lots of weird game design decisions, some really, really horrible MTX practices. But the game was really fun at first, and the kind of PvP on sea was just awesome. I loved that. It was probably one of the kind of peak MMO experiences I had.
Any other thoughts on wilderness at sea?
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of it. I suppose my sort of concern would be, obviously, people voice that they don't think the wilderness is as alive as they want it to be. They don't find as many fights out there as they want to. Is offering that out at sea just going to sort of segment it even more and make it more difficult to find a fight? I'd like to say no, and I'd like to say that you can have both and be viable, because fighting out at sea would be awesome. Obviously, that's a thing to consider at least.
I think there should be certain danger zones, like just dotted around, so not just one place, but like several, if we're doing like proper exploration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, what else do we have from the chat? I'm trying to get some good questions. Someone has just bought 132 million cannonballs, apparently. All right, they're getting ready. Any news on Chambers updates from Jakey? Don't really think there's much that we can share. I know that we are looking at the potential options for the next poll as we bring poll 79 to a close. And I believe I don't mind sharing this. And if I get into trouble, then so be it. I don't think I can. But one of the things that we talked about, we put together a survey for poll 79, and a lot of the things that were quite popular in the survey we just weren't able to complete alongside the other things we wanted to do in poll 79. But I know that one of the most popular requested Chambers of Xeric changes from that survey was for us to address the laborious task of scouting grades, getting the perfect layout at Chambers. So it may be that we look to include that as part of poll 80. Can't guarantee it at the moment until we've confirmed exactly what we want to do, but that's probably the next time you'll look at some bigger changes for Chambers. We recently added the chest, obviously, have this week, came out yesterday. Hopefully that answers that question. I don't know if anyone else has any more, if they have any more knowledge on Chambers changes.
Seen a few ask as well to make the kind of loot reveal a bit more exciting, like we've since done with Tob and Hoa. So that could also be a nice change to include.
Yeah, I think that would be quite neat, actually. Just knowing that you've got a unique, but not until you've opened it. I know most people will hide their chat so that they get that, excitement factor when the chest opens. But all right, I'm going to head back over to the veteran boat now, I think.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely raking in the points at the moment. Why is the veteran dead? Oh, because we moved to the novice boat. Sorry about that. Ashyams, we're back. We got you. Let me have a look. Will we see any group content harder than Theatre of Blood or even solo content like the Inferno? And that comes from Slick Slide.
They've not given us a time frame, so we can cheat and say yes at some point in the future. I guess on a more serious note, like not this year, but like Inferno is, how old is Inferno now? Like probably quite scary age and older than I think it is. Like at least 5 years.
Maybe
old.
6
years old. Yeah.
6 years old. 6 years old next month.
So it's been around a while. Like same with Tob, that's been around for quite a few years. It is now getting towards a point where it might be time to start thinking about pushing things up a bit. It's all about balance, isn't it? Like at the end of the day, like for that really like high end like PVM content, not many people can engage with it. So it's important to think about everyone else, but it is also at the same time important to make sure that once you have reached the top, that there is always something else to aim for. So yeah, it's sort of starting to feel like it might be time to start pushing things up a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think aspirational content is always good for the long-term health of the game. In terms of like difficulty, don't want to touch on it too much, but maybe some players will be in for a pleasant surprise with Desert Treasure 2 and the level of difficulty that those offer. It should add some extra things for you to work towards, maybe teach you a thing or two new about PVM that you didn't know before, but it's definitely not going to be at the heights of like Inferno level difficulty. But the playtesters seem to enjoy it that have been trying out the content the last few days. I don't want to ruin too much because Ed's here and he'll tell me off. Is there anything planned for the north of the Fremenic Isles with regards to Freya from the Myths Guild?
Not planned. No, like there is stuff to the north, like narrative wise. So we will almost certainly go there one day. This is another one. They've not asked about time frame, so I can cheat. Like one day, at some point in the future, like undetermined like time, we will go north to Acheron, which is the sort of like landmass up there. But not yet. There is some other stories we want to tell first, some other areas we'd like to visit first.
Perfect answer. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. Are there any plans to implement gear upgrades for more mid-game players? Having to do the Corrupted Gauntlet grind on every Iron Man due to no good alternatives is no fun.
That's the old classic, isn't it? What do you define as mid-game? They say mid-game, then immediately say Corrupted Gauntlet, and that's straight away when you start to get into a lot of disagreement on what mid-game is. I guess just in general, like, it is good to fill gaps. We like to fill gaps, whether those gaps are considered mid-game, high game, or whatever. Like, we like to fill them. So, like, whatever this person asks this question, whatever they define as mid-game, whatever the gap they're looking at, I'm sure we will look to fill it at some point. Like, I think as we mentioned, like at the start when we were talking about the game jam stuff with Path of Gluffery, we're looking to fill like some gaps there that, by the sounds of it, aren't what this person would define as mid-level, but all the same, we like to fill gaps.
Cool. Thank you, Ed. To celebrate one community member escaping the icy prison, are there any plans for future penguin quests? This is your best questions here, Ed. You can just say yes at some point, maybe.
I can't use a save answer like 3 times in a row. They've not given a time frame, but unfortunately for this, it is that answer again of like we have how many storylines do we have in game? Like 20 or so different storylines, of which only one has been finished. Like personally, I don't think we should be satisfied until we've finished them all. So penguins are absolutely on the list of things that we should focus on, but there's other storylines we'd like to look at first, and I guess sort of like similar to answer the previous question, where I say we'd like to look at things like when it comes to choosing like what area to go to next, like what storyline to focus on next. It's very much based on surveys and stuff we do. So like it's not what we want to do. It's very much like which storylines would people like us to focus on next, and that's sort of what we focus on. But the goal is definitely to try and do them all in the end. But when we look at surveys, like Marjarat have come out on top over and over again. So we're finally doing them this year. People are still very keen to see the Mayaki finale, that sort of thing. Those kind of things will probably come before we look at penguins again.
Oh, Ed. Sorry, I'm just quickly answering a message I'm answering a question within the actual game right now, so I'm distracted. Just briefly, I'm attacking this portal. Here we go. Okay. Basically, I'll answer it in here. Someone asked how the team felt about the wilderness boss rework. Were we happy with it? Did we feel like it was in a good direction? And I think, generally speaking, yes, very happy with how wilderness boss rework went down, especially the initial release of it. That being said, there are members within the team that have highlighted some issues with it that we've also seen that players have raised too. We know that there are tweaks that could be made, improvements to the loot. Yes, we're aware of the situation where it can be difficult to find worlds as well because of players not always playing the same way that you might be. So we are looking to make some changes, and in fact Mods, Manked and Goblin worked on a series of changes that included the Wilderness Boss rework for their Game Jam project. So it may even be that we'll be able to show you some of those changes that they were hoping to at least make when we do the live stream covering all of the pitches that were worked on. So yeah, TLDR, good, but could be better. Overall, though, it's in a much better position than it was before. I think most players would agree with that too. The bosses themselves are actually enjoyable to fight now. So, yeah. Any massive PvP updates that's not Bounty Hunter? Thomas, for this year, no. Although there is potential for other things that we can look at. The main thing that we wanted to do this year, though, was obviously Bounty Hunter, bringing that back, given the fact it was removed entirely from the game. But there are still things out there that we can look at. The potential for maybe another Deadman with a new rule set, for example. Maybe even touching on the current, or not current, World 45, but we've had talks about, potential rehaul of the permanent Deadman worlds, or having new ones, so the existing ones can stay, but having new ones with fresh rule sets. But in terms of like larger content updates, there won't be anything this year. We have some smaller changes that we want to make later on in the year, though, but that's about all I can say at the moment for PvP. But I think it's been a really solid year or so for PvP of recent, so really happy with how things have been. I've also just realised the time. I heard some breathing in my ear, and I think that was Mod Spear about to say 6 PM, guys. Just having an absolute whale of a time. I'm going to wrap this game up then, and we can close out the stream.
I'll stop embarrassing myself there then.
Did you guys see anything in chat that you wanted to ask, answer? Anything you want to mention to the stream whilst you're here? I realise I've just kind of like taken charge, but
I will say. Someone asked any updates on forestry. There will be some more news this month, but I can't give you a specific date yet regarding something quite exciting. Yeah, that's all I want to say so far.
Okay, all right. It's normally my job to announce announcements, Sani, but I'll let you take it from me this one time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Really looking forward to Forestry, actually. I think it'll be. I think it's kind of like slept on just how fun it's going to be. A big change that it's going to be forward going. Anyone else? Anything more? No. Okay. All right. Well, I've got plenty of time on my activity timer. Things like, yeah, not really. You're just thinking about going to the park now, aren't you?
No, I've been sat needing to go to the loo for ages. I've already logged out of game, so I'm quite keen on wrapping up so I can go and pee.
Okay, all right. Well, I won't take up too much time. Okay, it's time for the announcements. I'm going to talk really slowly, so Sween has to stay longer. No, I'm joking.
You've also got some UGC to show off if you want to keep him longer.
Yeah, we do. We'll do the announcements and then show the UGC, and Sween can go pee whilst we go through them, I guess. Okay, exclamation mark, game update. Combat achievements, they're now point-based. Make sure you go check your progress at Gommel. I'm sure that you've got a few tiers unlocked that you definitely deserved, worked really hard for, so go and reap the rewards for all of your efforts. In addition, we added a chest to the Champions of Direct lobby so that you can bank there. And there's a whole bunch more. So exclamation mark game update. We've also got exclamation mark Discord. So we're now officially into the refinement stage for the new skill. As we progress through this stage, we invite you to join our new skill Discord, where we'll be hosting stage talks. They're very similar to Q&As, just without video. And we get a whole bunch of the community involved, ask questions, and we're even going to maybe give you the opportunity to speak to us on voice, though I don't know what some of you would say, so we'll see about that. But anyway, exclamation mark Discord to stay up to date with all things new skill. If you don't care about Discord, fair enough. It is what it is. We will be providing summaries of everything that we have in terms of conversations and stuff that will be shared on our news page anyway. But if you want to be in with it in the moment, exclamation mark Discord's where it's at. And then lastly, exclamation mark Gazette. The latest edition of the Gazette is out and it's packed full of updates about all of our upcoming projects, that being the new skill, Desert Treasure 2, Bounty Hunter, and loads more. So make sure we check it out with exclamation mark Gazette. Okay, now the content that the wonderful players have been making. If we can show the first one, which I believe was from our good friend Hooty Tooty, and thankfully he kept this one PG. And this is his interpretation of Mod Sani's Rat Boss. What do you think, Sani?
It was quite. I mean, I love the image. I think I left a comment on there. Obviously, Fancy Boots gang for life. But I was surprised how many people loved Cannon Rat, which was my crappy 5-minute Photoshop attempt. Seems like people love it. I will say that's not how they're gonna look. But maybe there's some more plans for Cannon Rat. Maybe.
I mean, I think it's going to have to happen now. Cannon Rat has just become a staple within the community, Sani. I'm sure we can convince the artists. Just Ed, close your eyes. It's magic, okay? There doesn't need to be a law reason other than magic. All right?
I'm all for it. I think we can definitely find a way to fit it in.
Nice. All right. I respect that. Hopefully we get a splinter as well. This is a Dragon Medhelm made by Bemis 666. So this is a recreation of that in real life. Very interesting. What's it made out of?
I'm not gonna lie. I first saw this and I thought it was like a piece of ham that someone had like carved the helmet into. But now I'm looking at it closer. I'm like, I still don't know. I'm still sticking.
I don't
with ham,
think it's
to be honest.
ham, Sani. Chat's saying it looks like clay, so it could look like it's clay. Very cool though. I mean, I wouldn't want to try and create that. I've never worked with clay before, but great work, Bemis. Thank you for sharing it with us, and also thank you for not having something really weird on your laptop like a pickle and some noodles or the other weird things that we've seen posted across the Reddit. What was it? What was the hot dog thing? What was it called again?
Oh, the beefaroni cheese dog.
That's it, the beefaroni. That was something. You guys are wild. Okay, now let's have a look at the wonderful Gnome Child. And this was by Crimnex. Absolutely incredible, if not a little cursed. And just really goes to show how creative our playbase are. This is a Gnome Child like rug. I think.
I mean, I love it, but I wouldn't want to stand on his face.
That's disrespect. That's massive disrespect if you stand on it. It needs to go on the wall, I think.
It looks like there's a little bit of a, like a nylon string behind, so maybe it's for wall hanging.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if we can have a look at the next one by New York Ape, which is Kefri IRL. Apparently, it looks like Kefri has been released out into the wild, and one player found her. Hopefully, this smell isn't as bad as in game. Who writes these things?
You know who writes these things. You know.
Oh dear, very cool though. Thank you so much for sharing that, New York. We appreciate it. And then lastly, from Overreaction, we have the Maiden of Sugadinti. Oh, yeah, I hope I said that right, Ed. What do you reckon? Yeah, super detailed. And the red is really vibrant on it too. Very well done. No, just me that thinks it was good. Okay.
Very, very good. I was expecting Ed to chime in on the pronunciation.
Yeah, me too. I was waiting for it.
It was good pronunciation. Very well done.
Okay. Sugadinti. Is that how you actually say it?
Sugadinti, yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh my, Ed approved.
I mean, it doesn't matter, right, Ed? Because like, as soon as it's not actually said out loud, so as soon as Ed says it's okay, then that's the pronunciation, right?
It's fine anyway, because when we were working on Song of the Elves and Prif, we did try in the very like early days of a project to have like a good attempt to like talk to everyone's like, right, whenever you're on stream, like it's pronounced Prifinus, not Prifdinus. And when we went on the first stream, and straight away Mod Ghost goes, oh yeah, so Prifdinus. And at that point we're just like, you know what, it's fine. It's fine. Prifdinus
It didn't stop there either. We had, Zalcano, Zalcano.
I'm definitely guilty of the Prifdiness. I'm sorry. It's always
I
been.
think we all are.
Yeah. Sorry, Ed.
Terrible
I mean,
people.
at least it's 50-50 now. Get one thing right, one thing wrong, and it's balanced, as all things should be. Anyway, I can't keep up taking any more time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Sani, Ed, Lenny, it's been a pleasure. Thank you as well, Sween. Hopefully you were able to relieve yourself in time. Thank you as well, chat, for being awesome. Thank you for joining us at Pest Control. Hopefully you got a good amount of points ready for your next piece of Void. Carry on the grind. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great weekend, and we will see you not next week. There's no live stream next week, but the week afterwards, I believe we'll be doing maybe the Game Jam one. Maybe we'll see. Otherwise, yeah. Enjoy yourselves, and may RNG always be on your side. Bye.